Welcome, amazing agents, investors from across the country. Today is Thursday, April 4th, 2019, and this is Mastermind call number 222. Chad, I heard you start to say something before I turned the recording on. I was going to throw it over to you in a minute. Anything you wanted to start with, or just housekeeping?
I was just going to let you know that the win of the week is business as usual for this week. I don't have everything ready.
Oh, okay, no problem. So we'll make that announcement next week. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
One small format change, everybody. We really try to respect your time and keep this call to an hour. We want to make sure y'all can come on, budget your time, schedule a 1:15 appointment, and you're not going to miss it. So in order to do that, we're not necessarily going to, as much as all the partners like to hear ourselves talk, we're just going to jump into the calls from now on unless we have something specific to go over. And one of them is we're going to change our win of the week a little bit, but we'll start that doing next week. Chad, anything you want to mention just real quickly about the role play call yesterday?
Yeah, so if you weren't on it, and if you're a newer follower, subscriber, the first Wednesday of every month we do an hour-long probate role play call. And it's a mix of investors and brokerage. So it's beneficial to everybody. If you didn't catch the call yesterday, a few places you can find it. We post every call in All the Leads Mastermind, our Facebook group, but we also have a video and audio archive on alltheleads.com. So from the home page you can go to the system, conference call video archive, and you can also use the search bar in the top right of alltheleads.com to type in the word role play or objections and bring up yesterday's call as well as the other 40 that we've done. So if you didn't get a chance to listen to the role play call or you weren't with us live, jump onto alltheleads.com, search role play in the top right, and it should take you right to it. And then the only other thing is we do have, for anyone who's interested, Probate Mastery starts next Monday. That's 3 sessions from 2 p.m. to ? We usually run like 2 to 4, 2 to 6, depending on which session. So if you're interested in Mastery, next week is the next class.
Perfect. Well, we have 5 people in the queue, guys. Good job. If you want to participate, I won't say it again, but try to sign in before 1:30 Eastern time. If you wait till 5 or 10 minutes of, chances are we're not going to be able to get to you this week. If we ever leave your question unanswered, just immediately send an email to support@alltheleads, and we'll call you back and go over it with you live. We want to try to help everybody that needs help every week. So having said that, the first up in the queue this week is phone number ending in 2224. You're up first.
Hi, this is Jamie. Can you hear me?
Hey, Jamie. Yes, sir.
Great. Yes, I'm brand new to this group, and really I'm a new real estate investor. I'm starting out in wholesaling, and I've been contacting probate leads. And so I think my question is probably pretty basic, but kind of 2 parts. One, I get a lot so far of, we're still in the probate process, and I'm calling the Chicago contacts. And I'm not really sure how to answer that or kind of push past that to even with potential leads that are interested.
So it was Jamie, right?
Yes.
So Jamie, were you on the role play call yesterday?
No, I missed it because I still work full time, so this call is perfect for me. Yesterday I couldn't get on.
Yeah, no worries. So I would recommend you go listen to that. We did talk about this. We've talked about it several times, but it kind of show you how to get into the initial conversation.
Okay.
Specifically, what we talked about is what's different. A guy asked, what's different about probate and for an investor. And the big difference is it takes kind of a mindset shift.
Okay.
So most investors, you get used to just calling and going straight for the house conversation. And that's where a lot of people get wrapped up. The best thing you can do is help them understand why that you offer a full service that can help with many different things in the probate process. And because of that, you reach out early because you know that your team can make a big difference in the overall amount of stress and work involved in the whole probate process. And you kind of focus on people and situation, and then eventually you'll be talking about real estate because that's usually their biggest problem. So
Right.
underscore the fact that you're proactively reaching out early because you know that you can make a bigger difference by helping more people if you do that. So even if they're not, these people are in a really stressful situation. So empathy is key. Like, understand they lost somebody, they grieved for on average about 2 months. Then they go to the courthouse and they're drinking from a fire hose, all this new information. They're accountable to the probate clerk, the probate attorney, the family, their spouse, their kids. Like, everyone's looking at them saying, what are you going to do? And oftentimes their reaction, their ego puts up a wall and says, no, I'm not going to do anything. And we call that probate quicksand. And it's pretty easy to get people out of that mindset if you give them strong leadership. And the confidence that it usually takes for them to get pulled out is just knowing that, like, your solution is designed to really help them with everything that the attorney won't. So try to underscore that and just say, listen, we reach out early because we know we can make a big difference, especially if we get involved from the beginning. We can take a lot of it off your plate.
Awesome.
And Jamie, I was going to add also, there's one of two reasons. If that's just an objection they're throwing up at you, that's a perfect response. One thing we do see, though, often is the attorneys tell these people, I filed your probate, you're not going to be able to sell for a few months. So some of them genuinely think that exactly. Some of them genuinely think that they can't do anything yet. And, a good answer to that, if we've given you their information 95% of the time, they're authorized to sign contracts. They can sign a contract. They can list the property. And just a good answer to that is, okay, I understand. I'm just curious. Did you want to be closing in August, or you just want to be getting started at that time? And then just be quiet. Well, what do you mean? Well, you may not realize we could go ahead and sign a contract now, do the title work, do the inspections. I'll get my financing in order, and by the time you're ready to close, by the time the probate attorney is done, we can be ready to close. And I would say a vast majority of the people don't do that. They don't understand that.
Yeah, that makes sense, and that's I've definitely gotten that several times. I wasn't trying to answer that. I kind of just assumed you could.
Another cut at it, Jamie, could be the feel, felt, found approach. So when they hit you with that, just say, I understand how you feel. Most every family we worked with felt that way in the beginning. What they found is that our service actually helped them move forward and fill a lot of blanks that they didn't have the answers to. Something along those lines. So help, validate how they feel and let them know that it is kind of a misconception that they can't do anything right now. Because, in Southern California, there's a few counties, and in certain counties in Florida, there's kind of a backlog where they're sitting waiting on the authority. But I'm not aware of that in your area. So chances are they do have the authority and they can do something today. They just think they can't, or they're just, in that probate quicksand and just aren't ready to move just yet.
All right. Awesome. That kind of answers my next question too, or what you guys both mentioned, because recently I just kind of got my first two, I'd say really legitimate, real leads. And one of them was saying, or, they're just like, well, I just want to see how the probate process goes. So my next question would be like, what can I do in the meantime? But that answers that. So I know this call is recorded. Are these able to be found on the website as well?
Yeah. So you can, if you go to alltheleads.com/CCVA, that's the conference call video archive. We use transcription software so you can actually search keywords. So if you search things like feel, felt, found, objections, role play, we've got it handled, stuff like that. It'll bring up the conversations where we've talked about this stuff.
Okay. You said feel, felt, sound?
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it.
Sure.
All right. Thank you, sir. We have 4 more in the queue, guys. We have room for more. Hit *6 and then hit 1. Next up is phone number ending in 3745. You're up next.
Hey, guys. Am I coming through clear?
Yes, sir.
Sure are.
Loud and clear.
first and foremost, just want to give you guys a huge round of applause. You guys have an amazing community. I love your consistency, delivering huge value. Way to go, guys. I love you guys.
Thanks, man.
So I'm starting to notice, and I don't purchase my leads through you guys, but I utilize some of your other resources there. I'm starting to notice a lot more of my probates have the probate court as their representing attorney. What exactly does that mean, and how would that affect, the ability to close a deal or to work with these property owners? I'm seeing an increasing number of them, and I don't know why it's occurring. And I've never had a probate where I've had to deal with that yet. I just want to be prepared when one of those comes forward.
So what are you finding what are you finding as the petitioner name specifically? Like what does it actually say?
So the personal representative is still the one opening the file, but the attorney that is representing them is listed as the actual probate court. So I don't know if that just means they're giving it to a public administrator, but we do
Probably.
have several. Okay, well, we do have several public administrators, and I'm seeing their name on several of these as well. So have they just not maybe assigned one yet? Is that what that could mean?
I'm not sure. I mean, typically when you see that, it means that there is a public administrator. And
Okay.
to see the prevalence of that increase, like all of a sudden, I don't really have an explanation for other than coincidence.
Okay.
There's nothing that we're aware of has really happened. I mean, it's hard to say. I don't know. I guess all you can do is just track it. I mean, I highly recommend you reach out to those people. Like if the attorney's name shows up as PR, you definitely want to know. You definitely want to know him because it's a business-to-business relationship, and there's no emotion, and those can be even easier deals. And I would make contact with at least one on the list, and when you've got rapport, start to learn more about it. Like, well, help me understand, like, why is this recorded this way when I'm used to seeing it I'm not used to seeing it that way. And maybe they can help bring some clarity to how the local recording and process works so you can understand it better.
Wonderful, wonderful. Do you know how long it is before they assign a public administrator to one of these? I mean, is it something where they could open the probate this week, but in next month's publication they might assign that over to them, or do they do it instantly when the file's opened?
It's usually during the initial hearing. So
Okay.
the court either, if nobody steps up, the court during the initial hearing will appoint that public administrator.
Okay.
Or if somebody objects, then the court will hear that and rule on it. And if they rule against the PR, then they'll appoint the public administrator at that point.
Awesome.
But we don't see them often, without, an estate really is not in a position to be in probate if it doesn't have someone to administer it, right? So they pretty much have to be appointed before it becomes an actual probate filing. Before that, it's just a petition for probate.
Got it. Wonderful. You guys rock, man. I appreciate you guys.
Hey, thanks for pointing that out. You reminded me, one of our very original customers and one of our most successful subscribers, Bill Bird in California, he made that same realization, I think maybe 6 months into this program, and he made it his mission to go after those personal administrators. And in the next year, he did nearly $1 million in commissions just with the personal administrators. Yeah, and he told us this. He told us the story where one of the judges heard so many good things from the personal administrators that a judge actually, in a case, basically decreed you have to list with Bill. So you're on the right track there. That's a road less traveled that very few other people go after, and it can be extremely lucrative. So keep after it. Let us know how you do.
I could use a few
And
more
something
roads
else.
like that. Thanks, guys.
Sure. What market are you in?
So I'm here in South Florida with you guys, as well as Michigan, which is where I'm from, but I moved to Florida 5 years ago. So I'm primarily fed by my Michigan business, but I'm starting to pick up more momentum here in South Florida.
Okay. So there are fiduciary public administrators in Florida or Michigan, I think, but like in California, they're called fiduciaries, and that's the first place I learned of this. But there are professional groups that will meet, usually monthly or quarterly, that are just public administrators and fiduciaries that come together to, discuss their industry and what's happening. And we have several subscribers on the West Coast that are part of those groups. So you pay your dues, like you pay, I don't know, it's something like $300 a year, and you're part of the group. You don't necessarily have to be a public administrator to be part of the group. But so if you can find one of those groups and find ways to bring value to them, that might be something to, help you get your foot in the door and get to know all of them in your market.
That is a huge plus. I will. I would love to sit in on some of those lunch meetings.
We have 4 more people in the queue, but you reminded me of our friend in South Florida last week that somehow he found out there was a hearing. He went to court.
I heard that.
Yeah, he said there was only one guy without a suit. I sat next to him, and he was the executor, and he followed me back to the office and listed the property. So, anytime you think outside the box, there's tremendous opportunity. So, great point. Thanks for sharing.
Thank you for clarifying.
All right, next up is phone number ending in 5574. We've got a lot of background noise. If you're on a speakerphone, could you pick up 5574?
Hold on 1 second.
Are you there? 5574?
Yeah, I'm here. Is that better?
Okay, that's much better. Thank you.
Yeah, because I'm driving and it was on my Bluetooth.
No problem.
So I'm very new. Got my first leads last Thursday. I sent out letters. It was your letter, but I mail merged it and stuffed it into hand-addressed envelopes. They went out on Saturday morning. I got a call on Monday saying, "How dare you?" And they also informed me that the decedent had lived in a nursing home for the last 3 years, had no real estate. And I said, they just asked me to take them off the list, and I said I would. Tuesday, I got another call and said, "Do you also sell real estate?" And I said, "Yes." They said, "Can you come list our property?" And so I sent stuff out on Saturday, and I took a listing on Tuesday afternoon. So
Awesome.
Is this a complaint? Like, did it take too long?
No, my complaint is I think the first one was too easy. I'm going to expect everybody to call and ask me to come list their house.
You insisted on a couple objections before you were allowed to take it. This is James, right? I want to make sure I have the right person. James?
Jim, yes.
Jim, okay,
Yep.
Good. Well, I just want to make sure you're in first place for our win of the week, so that's a great story. Well, yeah.
Jim, what market are you in?
I'm Bucks County in the Philadelphia area.
Okay.
So
you have, roughly 300 people on your list each month?
Yeah. Yep. It was 264 letters that went out. I know because I hand-stuffed them all and hand-addressed them all.
Well, you have 262 more come list me calls, so get ready.
Well, my plan is from 8 to 10 tomorrow to make my first set of calls, and then again do that Monday morning or maybe Saturday morning if I don't have anything else to do, any appointments to get set up between now and then. But I love everything about it, the leads, the fact that they're actually good phone numbers as opposed to some of the other lead sources, that they're listing leads and not buyer leads, because I already run enough people around. I don't need any more of those. I need the listings. And it seems like I'm doing a real service for people. So, I mean, these people were like, just come out and do this. It's the biggest problem we have. She's from out of town. So I said, hey, look, I've got estate sales people, and the ones I had contacted, they're like, well, this is a mobile home. They're like, well, we don't do mobile homes, but I've got a list of people to sit down and call to see if I can get them out there. So, like you say, if you had a listing and you have to put the team together, you'll get it done. Well, I'll get it done. So
that's great,
I just
Jim.
wanted to thank you.
Oh, thank you. And
sharing, Jim.
I had to make a comment. One thing we've been doing this more than 5 years now. We don't recommend a specific procedure just to be doing it. I think a lot of agents try to take shortcuts. We have agents that don't want to send out letters. They just want to make calls, or they don't want to make calls. They just want to send out letters. you do get business from the letters. You know, you get more if you follow up with a phone call, but those are great letters, and I mean, you basically sold yourself in the letter. By the time the guy read it, you know, he was ready to list with you. It sounds like. So that's awesome. Congratulations on following the system, and you're off to a great start. Keep it up.
Thanks.
All right, excellent. Appreciate you sharing. You're definitely in first place for the win of the week. We'll let you know.
Okay, thanks.
All right, buddy. Thank you. Next up is phone number ending in 4512. You're up next.
Hey, guys. This is Richard in Birmingham. How y'all doing?
Hey, Richard. Great. How about you?
Hey, I'm doing fine. Been a while since took Chad's mastery back in February. So I got my second batch of leads. Of course, I went back and got January also. But just like the previous caller, first one that I got off of this batch, she got it, called me on Saturday morning. Her grandmother had passed away and is left to her and everything. She's a personal representative also. And so, yeah, will you come list it? And got out there. Of course, it's not a real high-end property or whatever, but she had a house, and I think there was like 5 lots that goes with it. So that was pretty. That's my first one. So that so that was a good one.
Do you know any builders in your market, Richard?
Do I, Chad?
Do you know any builders in your market?
I do, and of course, well, the owner of our company, I work for a Bass Realty here in Birmingham. He's a developer, and also he does new and then fixes up. But you know, it's in an area of town where, he was the first one I went to with it, and I think I'll have to find someone in that area of town. It's not in a real good area, but still, though, I mean, with all the lots and everything, you know, they're, gosh, $15,000 or less, you know, so it's, you know. But I'll have to get someone like that to do it. But all the others, though, but I can see, of course, Chad, like, you know, I told you in the mastery, you know, I do a lot of for sale by owners and expires, but I can see where this is already starting to build up. I've got probably 7 or 8 people already that, you know, I talk with on a probably a weekly or every other week basis. So I know with just following up and staying with them, you know, on down the road here in the next 2 or 3 months, I could see where, you know, I could get 6 or 7, 8 listings in just 1 month just by staying in contact with them and following up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's kind of like the snowball effect. Like you continue to gain momentum, and then you'll get to a point just a few months in where you can pretty much rely on the come list me calls.
Yes.
Sam Bingham, who shows up on these calls a lot, she's kind of experiencing that now in Central Virginia. Like, she just gets them out of the blue. People just say, bring paperwork. And it happened to me. I got at least one a month. Like every month I would get one of those. So good work on that. The one thing I want to say, the reason I ask if you knew a developer, what you might want to consider on these lower price listings is, and it might seem counterintuitive, but an MLS opt-out. Most MLSs require you to upload it within, 24, 48 hours. On these lower priced ones, if you know you have a good book of investors and you know developers, you can, and the seller obviously needs to be on board with this, but you can do an MLS opt-out in the listing, and that'll allow you to kind of keep it, in your brokerage and shop it around to your buyers list before it goes out on the MLS. Yeah. And I've done that before. Like, if I have a $30,000 or $40,000 house and I know that someone on my cash buyers list will take it, I'll explain to the seller, I will only represent you, but just to keep things simple, let's run it through my list first, and that means that I'll keep the whole 6% commission, and I want to make sure you're okay with that. And they always are. The other thing you could consider on the lower priced ones is charging a base commission or a flat rate commission. So rather than 6% of $50,000, you could say, we would love to do this, but we have a minimum of $2,000 or $3,000, whatever that might be. Okay. But if you're finding that you continue to get those lower price listings, just remember you don't have to settle for 3%. If you're providing a high level service, they don't mind paying you for the value you bring. And there's ways to make more money on the lower priced properties.
Yeah, I think on this one, I'm almost positive. I'll have to look at the paperwork, but we did 7%. But, hey, got one question, though. On my leads, I have no attorneys that's representing the personal representative. Is that common in some areas?
It's in about 20% of, at the point of filing, about 20% of people won't have an attorney. Now,
Okay.
it's hard to track, but by the end of the process, I would say that 80% of that 20% has hired an attorney because they realized they were it was over their head. So those are really good leads to build relationships with attorneys. So if you approach an attorney in person and just say, listen, we're finding we help more and more families in probate, but what we notice when we go to the courthouse every month is there's X number of these each month that don't have an attorney associated, and I see that you guys are handling a lot of probate cases, so I just wanted to introduce myself and see if you might want to do some co-marketing I'm doing the work and gathering the list. I'm happy to provide that to you or to include your marketing material with mine and see if you can, open that relationship by trying to get them business from the people who don't have an attorney assigned to, that haven't chosen an attorney.
Okay. Yeah, I think, like I said, I've only had two that showed up my leads. I only had one or two attorneys that was listed on there or whatever. So, but other than that, but yeah, hey, looking forward on down the road, and hey, it's I know it's going to work. You just gotta stay and follow up with them.
Excellent job, and I know this occurred to you also, but those 5 lots would be the ideal situation is if you could find a builder who would you could sell them to that would agree to let you list the houses after you build them.
I do that on all of them. I do that on all of them.
Okay, good, yeah, because that could turn into instead of $15,000 lots, maybe it's $500,000 homes or whatever it would be. So good.
Correct.
Awesome. Well, thank you. You made it tough. Now we have 2 candidates for Winner of the Week. Both great stories. Thank you. Guys, we only have 2 more in the queue. We have most weeks we have too many, so don't be afraid to jump in there. Hit *6 and hit 1. I don't think we've had a call that hasn't gone an hour in 2 years, so it's okay, but there we go. See, if I beg enough, I get more people. Good job. All right, well, next up is phone number ending in 9508. You're up next.
Hey, guys, it's Matt out of D.C. How are you?
Great, Matt.
Hey, Matt.
How about you?
Doing great. Hey, quick question, Chad. I took Mastery in November, and I'd like to go through it again. I sent an email to support, got a ticket and a response back last week saying that over the weekend we should have received an email or something. I didn't receive anything. I didn't want to start another one. I just figured I'd start out by asking that one question. I do have one more follow-up question. Is there anything else I need to do to get signed up for that?
Sure. I haven't gone through and added all the alumni yet. Just to make sure, just send me an email, Chad, at all the leads, and say be sure to include me, and I'll probably get to that later, probably tomorrow when we shut down the ordering. So, but yeah, send me an email, Chad, at all the leads, and I'll make sure you're in.
No worries. Appreciate that. And second question is, do you have anybody that's working? I know you teach us to go make relationships with attorneys and obviously the personal rep executors, but do you have anybody that's working or has figured out a way to work with bondsmen that bond the probate? Okay.
No, actually I haven't. And I buy, my clients always get their fidelity bonds at the title company. Are you in D.C. or Virginia?
So I'm actually on the Maryland side, just outside of D.C.
Okay. In Virginia, if there's not a will that waives the fidelity bond, then usually we have to buy a fidelity bond, and I've always just gotten mine through my title company. So I don't have any experience working with someone who specifically just is a bondsman. So I haven't done that. It's a good idea. I'd like to learn more about it. So if you figure it out and make that connection, please come back and tell us about it.
Okay, so maybe this may help or not. So I was in the courthouse, and I literally hear the guy's very jovial, older gentleman. He apparently knows everybody, and it literally came out in the conversation. He's a second-generation bondsman. His dad started the business, and he was literally on the public computers going through looking up information, sitting there right next to me, and I'm like, I never would have thought about that, and I don't even know why he would have been doing that. And I'm like, well, okay, if he's working the same people, well, obviously they're not getting it at the title company. Either they're reaching out to him or the court reaches out to him when they require one. Any ideas there?
He's probably reaching out to them. I mean, if he's there doing research, he's probably reaching out saying, hey, you know, if you didn't have if it's not waived by the will, you're required to buy a fidelity bond. Here's my service. Did you get his information?
So I got his name. I have it wrote down somewhere. Because I heard him saying, or heard him talk about it even after he left, saying what a nice guy he was, and he's around there all the time.
Yeah, I would definitely want to have a conversation with him. So I would try to get in touch with him and learn about what he's doing and see if there's something you may be able to do together. Because, I mean, he would be a great partner for you to have. I mean, you can add him as a spoke in your wheel, but you can also turn him into a referral partner. So if he's out there, if he's successfully making contact with the PRs early in the process, then he should be telling them about your service. Like, here's the fidelity bond. That's step one. Now you can move forward and get things liquidated. And this is the person, there's a team right here in town that does everything. So I would definitely want to get to know him and figure out what he's doing and probably add him to your team.
Okay. And obviously I have his name. I'm sure I could find his number. Just call him, or like attorneys, you say, just show up at his office. I mean, obviously, he would probably have an office, I'm guessing. Maybe not.
Yeah, I mean, I would try to give him if you can't find his number, I would even call call the county clerk. If he's in there all the time, they should know how to get a hold of him.
Okay.
It sounds like everybody knows who he is. So if you can't find it on your own, call the clerk, and they'll probably help you out.
All right. Appreciate it.
And good outside-the-box idea. Thank you. Yep.
When you make contact and figure out exactly what his process is, let us know. Come back and share.
Yeah, I'd be happy to if I can get it worked out. Cool.
Excellent. Thanks. Next up is phone number ending in 0617. You're up next.
Hello, my name is Sergio. I'm here in the Phoenix area. I'm brand new. Actually got my first batch of leads here and started calling this week. Actually set my first appointment, went on it yesterday. It wasn't for a listing, it was more somebody wants their property as is, and I do work with cash buyers. So my question is because I just got my list, so I basically, listened to the role plays. I've made my living basically off canceled expires the last 2-3 years, and so I'm not afraid to pick up the phone. So, but I would love to send these letters out. I'm just having a hard time figuring out how to do it. I'd rather not order through the site. I have a title company who will just print these off for me, and I'm wondering how do I actually get these letters to somebody to print them for me, or how would I be able to print the letters myself?
Well, you can download them from if you go to Mailbox Motivator,
Okay.
letter and brochure samples, you can actually download it as a Word document. So if your title company is, if they're willing to do the mail merge and stuff the envelopes and do everything, the one thing I would say is, make sure there's a good reason we use greeting card envelopes with hand addresses, because that mail gets opened and it sticks around, and business envelopes aren't quite as effective. So make sure you're before you're investing the money, I would rather see you spend $1.50 on a mail piece that's proven than spend a bunch of time and they spend a bunch of money on something that's not going to be that effective. So
sure, and I can appreciate that, Chad. So so I can go in here, customize it, and then download it. So they're actually just going to print the letters for me. I personally, and I have an assistant too who I'm thinking of getting like some colorful invitations, something that sticks out like you're saying, and kind of just handwriting it and then sending it that way. That's what you're referring to, or?
Sure, and I will say you should never be doing that work. That's your assistant's job. You're losing money if you're doing your own mail. So
Exactly. No.
If you have those resources, use them. The other thing I'll caution you about is don't go brighter than a pastel envelope. I did a mailing once with, it happened to me with bright green, and it also happened to me with bright orange. And my friend who's a postmaster pretty much told me it was because the paper was too reflective and the laser that reads the mail had trouble, so it was just kicking it off into the trash pile. And so don't go with like neon envelopes. Try to stick with something pastel. Just my personal experience, I wasted a lot of money because I chose bright envelopes.
Perfect. Pastel colors. All right, I'm just writing that down. I appreciate that. And now the business mastery, because I'm highly considering doing that, and basically just runs down how to start to finish do it, and explains the process. Could you elaborate a little bit more, like specifics, what would be in the mastery as well, just to help be even more successful doing this?
Sure. So my whole point, like my whole objective in probate mastery is to give everybody confidence. And the way I break it into 3 pieces. So session 1 is really focusing on what is probate, and nationwide, what does that look like? Like how many people are we talking about? Like what are the statistics behind it? And how can you step in there and provide value and benefit from that? Session 2 is really on the whole potential, all the possibilities that you can do. So as a broker, as an investor, as a transaction engineer, we talk about creative financing. We talk about all the different services, how you build your team, specifically where you find those people, and how you set up your referral network with attorneys, nursing homes, senior moving companies, estate sale companies. So we kind of look at the how in session 2, and in session 3 we take the initial conversation, the face-to-face appointment, and break it apart layer by layer. And it takes 2 hours to explain a 15-minute conversation, because there's a lot of little tricks that we use that, just based on simple psychology and human behavior, you can kind of lead people where they need to go. So it's kind of a long form. We spend over, sometimes that session runs as many as 4 hours, because we get into deep role plays and discussions about how do you put a deal together if these are the factors. So the idea is to have you come out the other end just white hot to go get started, because now you know that you see the full opportunity, you see exactly how you're going to take advantage of that in your business, and you know what to say when you've got somebody on the phone or in front of you. So that's kind of the gist of it.
Okay, I appreciate that, because I mean, what I'm gathering from the role plays is obviously, having a script is okay. I mean, for what I've learned with like canceled expires, but this is more, and not that a canceled expires are not people to people, but that human aspect of it, I completely get it, not coming at them so scripted, but more from a place of care and of service initially, and I've kind of carried that through my whole business. So and that's what turned me on to the probate, is because I see that these people do need a little bit of help in most instances. It's just, just getting that guidance on how to do it properly. So I'll sign up for that today, and then get with you guys on Monday and get to it, because I see how this is an excellent source for business, and obviously for listings and some investments as well.
Yeah, they are, once you get it dialed in, I mean, they are the best clients you'll ever have. And even whether you're buying the house or representing them, they are, I mean, I've had less it's honestly less work than any other lead type I've ever worked. It can sound daunting and complicated the way we present it, because we tell you to provide options, but reality is you can set up the entire thing in a couple of days and really stand out from the competition. And once that's done, then the biggest challenge is getting used to having great clients. I did FSBO expired for a while, and it was not for me. The people are way, way different in this niche.
Oh yeah, 100%.
They're really grateful. Yeah, I mean they're super grateful that you're offering to help, and they are very receptive to your professional opinion, where a lot of times FSBOs and expireds, they're mad at whoever didn't get it done last time, or they think that they're, that you're not worthy of their listing. And you just don't have to fight those battles in probate. And you don't have to go on listing appointments where there's 6 people in line in front of or behind you either.
Well, I'm all about the work smarter, not harder mentality, and so I'm all in with it. So I'll sign up for the Mastery Today chat, and I look forward to seeing you guys, talking to you guys on Monday with getting going. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. The queue is now closed. We have 3 more in the queue, which should take us pretty close to the top of the hour. Next up is phone number ending in 5700. You're up next.
Hi guys, this is Alex. How do I find out if a couple of counties that I'm interested in are available with your data, if you have the data available for me?
Sure, Alex. This is Jim. Either myself or one of my sales team will call you back immediately after this call. Is the 5700 number, is that the best number to call yet?
That is the best number. I'm looking for, okay guys, you can give me a call. And can I do a follow-up question on the on Serge's questions? I'm not looking to do the mailings myself. I think it's not, I just want to use my time in a different way. Do you offer that service where you can mail the letters out?
Funny you should ask. Go ahead.
We do. So we have all the letters that have been effective and worked across the country are in your subscriber portal. You just simply go to the letter and brochure samples. Each one will open up in an online editor. You edit it right there and add it to your order, and we handle the rest. So we'll take care of your mail merge.
I apologize. I'm new. This is my first time even asking a question. A friend of mine told me about the call. I jumped on it. I already do probates, but I'm trying to take it to a different level. It's just, that's all. I mean, yeah. I'm looking to increase it.
So
wonderful.
Just so you're aware, I mean, we can obviously help you with letters. We also have a full-service print shop, so we do a lot of brochures for people. I mean, it sounds like you have experience, and you might be ready to just move into that stuff too. So we do PR mailings, attorney mailings, other, like some people do business cards. We have a lot of trifold brochures that really kind of explains your whole offer in one simple piece. In addition to that, things that you'll probably find value in since you have experience, we do custom WordPress websites. It's $200 for your site build and $39 a month to have that. And they've evolved into really, really effective sites since we started. And then we can also help you if you're not getting your calls made. We have a call center that's specific to this type of prospecting.
Wow,
and then
you do everything.
We just talked about, yeah. So if you already have a lot of experience and you're doing a lot of this manually on your own, we have pretty much automated all of the choke points that you're probably going through. So there's a lot of stuff we can help you with.
I'm looking forward to getting a phone call in a few minutes from you guys. I want to talk to you.
You got it. As soon as the call ends, we'll get on with you, Alex. Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.
All right.
Thank you.
Excellent. 2 more in the queue. Next up is phone number ending in 2019. You're up next.
Hey, guys. This is Steve in South Central Texas. Can you hear me?
Hear you great, Pete.
Steve.
Okay. I have not bought leads from you guys as of yet. I've got a different situation that I've talked to Jordan a couple of times, and it's been about 2 months since I've talked to him. But my situation is this, and I thought maybe you've had this experience. I'm in the San Antonio and Austin, Texas markets, but I don't live in either one of those markets. I've actually, my situation has changed since I talked to Jordan, and I'm now living in our house up in Kingsland, Texas, which is a smaller market and a smaller county. So I'm kind of right on the borderline of Burnett County and Llano County, which is 25,000 and 50,000 combined as far as population is concerned. So the leads at the courthouse aren't, there's not as many of them there, obviously, and I know y'all dealt with smaller markets, but you haven't sent people to these two markets or these two counties. I've been to both county clerks, and I've been, getting familiar with those folks, and just wanted to see what y'all experience is with something like that in smaller markets. I've got another county that's about an hour and a half away that I'm super familiar with, their courthouse, the whole county of another 50,000 population, and I've got real estate experience there. So just 3 different counties, smaller counties, wanting to stay out of the big cities, obviously, just because I prefer where I'm at. What is your take on that?
Sure. So we have folks that are really, really successful in those smaller counties because most people look at it and say, oh, it's not worth my time. And I can't remember the county, wherever, Wrightsville Beach, North Carolina is the one that comes to mind. We get 2 to 3 leads a month. And the subscriber there is paying over $200 for 2 or 3 leads. But she's fine with that because she gets at least half of them every month. She gets at least 1 listing off of 2 or 3 leads. And we have others that are in the 10 to 20 range, and we have had people that have as much as 50% conversion consistently in those smaller markets because there's no other service there to compete, and there's no one else really talking to them. The other thing that I'll point out is look at the whole picture. So we teach you obviously to market to the personal representative, but the second part of what we teach is to build your referral network. And in those smaller markets, the reason the numbers are usually so low, because like a county with 50,000 people, like for example, here where I am in Virginia, we have 98,000 people in Roanoke County, average about 85 leads a month, or no, about 100 leads a month, where the county next door has 50,000 people and they get 12 leads a month. And the biggest reason is people are coming in under the small estate exemption. So if their total estate is worth less than $100,000, they don't have to probate the estate. However, all the factors that motivate people to sell because they need to settle liabilities and move on, they're still present, even though it's not going through probate, even though they might have come through under the wire for the exemption. They have something that's worth less than $100,000, and chances are they still need to sell it. So you can kind of double down on your efforts to, build your referral network with the attorneys, the state sale companies, registered investment advisors, anyone who has contact with folks in that stage of life. And so you may end up, with 15, 20 leads a month, but you might get, with the combination of marketing to those 15 or 20 and then building your referral network, you may be able to pull more business than you could in the big city because you have no competition. You're the only one there offering it.
Sure. Yeah, that's exactly where my mindset has gone. I've been in the real estate business for a while, but I was only part-time up until recently, and decided to find a specialty and niche. While I was in sales over the last couple of years, traveling all over Texas and Louisiana, I listened to a lot of this stuff and found you guys there, and kind of decided that because I helped my mom and then also my fiance through a couple of deals, just knowing what I do about real estate, I learned something about the probate process, and then here I am, stumble on you guys. So I'm glad to have found you, and that was the answer I was looking for, because that's kind of the way I feel about building a relationship with people in the smaller markets. And I do have between 4 and 6 attorneys in Medina County and Atascosa County, which are both 50,000 population, give or take, and real good networks in those 2 counties, and I'm building them in Llano and Burnett. So I felt the same way. I just wanted to hear from you guys and make sure that I was, and the thing you said about the referral network and the exemption under 100,000, that taught me a lot right there, because they're not always going to be in probate. So that's good to know.
And right. Steve, Jordan's sitting here right next to me, and I have a feeling he'll be calling you right after the call.
Okay, yeah, we can talk things over again and see if there's a way to help me in the smaller counties. But I've been there, and you're right, Chad, I think you said about 12 leads per month in that other county. That's exactly about what they're getting on average in Llano County. And, I can go in there and find those. But, yeah, sure, I'd like to talk to Jordan again and see if we might be able to put something together.
Sounds great. We have a bunch of people jumping in at the end here. I'm going to try to get to everybody. We've got 3 in the queue, but for sure, phone number ending in 3172. That name looks familiar. You're up next.
Yeah. Hey, Tim. Joe Lehman here.
I know you well, Joe. How you been?
Doing just fine, Tim. I got my first set of leads last week, and my first set of letters went out yesterday. My website's set up, so I'm excited to get this started, and I've signed up for the Probate Mastery next Monday and Tuesday. But Chad, I heard you say that it runs beyond the 2 hours, typically.
Sometimes, so like I try to not, we do a Q&A at the end of every session, and depending on, how advanced the questions are and how deep the conversation goes, we've ran as long as 9 hours on the whole course and as short as 5 hours. And if you miss anything, don't feel like you're going to miss out. Everything's recorded and emailed to you immediately following the session.
Well, right now I just want to block off the time. And that's
so like Monday we almost always wrap up within 2 hours, so we'll be done by 4. Tuesday somewhere between 4 and 5, and Wednesday somewhere between 5 and 6 is typical.
Okay, good. Thank you. Next question. Yep.
Yes, sir.
With my first set of leads, I had a number of personal representatives that were also the probate attorney. And I had called in and to ensure that the personal representative letter was not sent to the probate attorney, they told me to take that representative off the list, and then we'd only be mailing to the people that were representatives, and I could mail separately to the probate attorneys. Well, I did that. But then when I go back in now, I can't pull up that particular record because it only clicks on the personal representative name, and that name is gone from several of, like 8 or 9 of the records. Can I get the leads reloaded, or what's the deal there?
So it sounds like you might have been deleting. So we do keep a backup copy of every lead, so in case something like this would happen. So if you accidentally delete something, we do have the original data. So if you could just document what happened and email support, just say, these are the 8 leads that are in question, then we can either restore those or restore your whole list.
Okay. What's easier for them to go through and restore a lead, or just restore the whole list?
Well, I don't quite know the answer. If we restore the whole list, we may lose your notes on all the leads, so we may have to go do them one by one, and I frankly don't know the answer to that.
I hadn't made any notes yet because I hadn't made any calls yet. Because my first letter
okay, then we can just replace your whole list. Then you can start fresh.
Okay. Do I need to send a support email to do that?
Yep, and just look at include the list name and say please reload list name like 21819 or whatever the file name was on that list, so we'll know exactly which one to replace.
Okay, thank you.
All right, Joe, thank you, sir. Next up is phone number ending in 0617.
Hey, actually, Joe again. Just a quick follow-up question for I'm actually ordering my letters now just after my last question. A couple of these said they were flagged for mailing, excluded from mailings or invalid addresses. Is that pretty normal? Like, so I got 100 leads, and it says 65 letters were removed because of flagged to be excluded from mailings.
So unless you have checked the box to exclude from mailings, that shouldn't be the case. By default, we'll include everything in a list, but if you look under the option status tab, if you click into an individual lead record, and the third tab to the right is option status, there's 3 radio buttons. One is exclude from calls, exclude from mail, exclude from email. And if that box is checked, then it won't, then we will, it's when you print your mailing list, it will exclude all those that are checked. But the only way for that to be checked is for you or somebody on your team to have manually checked that. Because by default, they're all unchecked.
Okay. I will go through that then. That is it. Thank you very much.
Thank you. 2 more in the queue. We might just get to everyone. Phone number ending in 3203. You're up next.
Yeah. Hey, everybody. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hey, how's it going? So I wanted to ask, I'm new to probate. I'm not new to real estate. I am new to Los Angeles. I heard it's a very competitive market here. I wanted to kind of get your viewpoint of like what would be the best strategy to attack being in a new market, in a competitive market. Would you advise me to hit attorneys first, or try to prospect on the leads? What would be a good strategy for that?
So you definitely want to focus on marketing to the personal representatives first, because that's the decision maker, and kind of you have a limited window with those particular personal representatives. The probate attorneys are great long-term opportunities because they're going to be in your market, every month they're going to be in probate. That's their job. So definitely get your marketing done first, but in a perfect world, you'll do it all and kind of do it in tandem. So you get your letters out, follow each letter with a phone call, and be prospecting attorneys with office visits all at the same time. And I'll tell you this, your X factor is going to be the phone. And in really, really competitive markets, the folks who own this space are on the phones. And we've seen it in San Diego. We've seen it, in New York City and Chicago. Like if you get on the phone, you're going to have a distinct advantage, because most people are just, hammering the mailbox. So it's not to say that you shouldn't send mail, because what we find with the nature of the letters we send, they get opened, they get read, and they stick around. Even if they're not ready to act right now, we have tons and tons of stories every week of people who are saying, they've held my letter for 6, 8, 12 months and finally called. So the kind of minimum effective dose that we recommend is 3 letters spaced out over a 90-day period, each one followed by a phone call. And then the second part of that is building your referral network. So focus on probate attorneys, family law attorneys, registered investment advisors, nursing home employees, senior moving companies, even social workers, like anyone in the community that has contact with people in that end-of-life phase, even upstream of probate, like before death occurs. You definitely want them to know that there's a business in the community that has a full-service offering for folks that are going through those challenges of transition. And if you do all of that and you're diligent, you won't really have any competition, even though you're in LA.
Okay, perfect. And then so I guess I'm interested in signing up with the leads program. So basically, it's a full system. Just utilize it and follow up through the process, and I should be able to see some results, right?
Yeah, and we're going to get you, in case you don't know, we're going to take the public data, and then we'll augment that and we'll give you up to 4 phone numbers for the personal representative. We give you the full attorney information, including their phone number. You have all the proven letters. You've got over 500 hours of conversations like this that you can learn from. We do live role play calls. We have a call center. If you're not getting your calls made, we can do it for you. There's just a kind of a ridiculous amount of resources we can provide to you, so you can get there quicker than you think.
Perfect. One more
question. And is this Will? Your name is Will, right?
This is Will. Yeah.
And the number you're calling from, somebody will call you right back after the call? That's a good number?
Yeah, that's a good number.
The 3203. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
One final question regarding as far as overlaps of other, individuals that are signed up under the program in the same area. Do you guys keep that unique to the person as far as the mailers and all that, as far as not being bombarded by the same mail, things like that?
We do. So we have quality control in place. No 2 subscribers will send the same letter in the same market. And our ISA service, our call center, will only make calls for 1 subscriber per market. You're also in one of those areas that is, since LA is such a massive county, we've broken it down into, I believe, 5 smaller, more manageable markets. Mm-hmm. So you can, you don't have to bite off the entire county if you're not going to drive 4 hours to get to the other side of town. You can choose your kind of sub-market. So you're in one of those unique markets where we have done that.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you so much.
And Darcy will be calling you back in about 2 minutes. She'll take good care of you.
Great. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Hey, guys, we have 2 more people in the queue, Carl and Mark. It is 1 minute after, so give me about 10 minutes, and I will personally call the 2 of you back and answer your questions live. we are going to make a real effort to end these calls on time. So thank you so much, everybody, for being here today. I always end these calls the same way. I want to thank each and every one of you for taking an hour to be here. Particularly thank those who participated. We've got a tough decision on the winner of the week. We had several really good stories. But I want to challenge each and every one of you. Take one idea, one thought, one story, one thing that inspired you on this call. Go out and put it into practice and come back next week and share the results with the group. Thank you so much, guys. Make it a great week, and we will talk to you same time next Thursday.